Hey y'all, welcome to Tom Talks. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about
The best part of taxes is not paying them.
buy your next home from Home Depot,
It's not Fairfield Lake anymore.
walkable neighborhoods in DFW,
And you're going to have to find a new excuse to be late for work.
Hey y'all, welcome to the show. My name is Tom Jung. I'm your host.
And I'm Jack Lisenby, co-host.
And we're your local Dallas-Fort Worth real estate agents. If you are looking to buy or sell here in the next few days, few months, whatever, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us at tomstexasrealty.com, at Facebook and Instagram at tomstexasrealty, and TikTok at tom.things. So here we go. So this is a show, by the way, about everything Dallas-Fort Worth and whatever else we're interested in. So
Yeah, we try and keep it topical.
yeah, hope you enjoy. Do anything cool this past week?
No, actually, I had a bunch of work lined up, and it all ended up falling through, so I just kind of sat around and did nothing.
You're like, well, this is kind of nice,
Yeah.
but unexpected. I ended up having a baby.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Surprising.
So,
Just came out and happened to have a baby.
yeah, it was like unexpected, and then boom, there it is now. Yeah, so it was it was interesting for sure. So I got a couple stories, and then we'll
Okay.
get into everything else. So first off, this was going to be a surprise baby, right? So we didn't know if it was going to be a boy or girl.
Right.
And about a month ago, we had a sonogram where I think I told you this story, but basically the tech goes, "Whoa." And we were like, whoa, something wrong, you know? She's like, your baby's got a big head.
Oh.
And we were like, oh, man.
Not where I thought that sentence was going.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, anyways, of course, after that, my wife's like, we need to get this out now.
Right.
Because, she's got to push the head out.
Right.
And anyways, during that appointment, we told the tech, hey, we don't know what it's going to be. We don't want to know. Well, apparently, when the tech was switching screens, Olivia had seen that it had sex and female in the top corner on this like informational thing.
Yeah.
And so after the appointment, we got into the truck, and she was like, you saw that, didn't you? And I was like, what? She's like, the gender. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so she was telling me how she saw it. Yeah. And she was like so disappointed. Of course, that like, I'm not kidding. For the last month, I've been trying to figure out what it was. Like, I would just question her on stuff. And like, we were picking names out for both a boy and a girl. And so I was like, which one is she more focused on? You know, like, but dude, Poker Face was great. Like,
Good for her.
Did not give it away. And so, anyways, she started contractions like 3 minutes apart. 3 to 5, which is like go time on Saturday at 2 a.m. 4 days later, we have the baby. So like this was a long labor. Anyways, baby comes out and it's a boy. So she was like so confused because she was like, maybe it was talking about me, but she's like, any patient that has a baby is going to be a woman. Like, it's like.
So, okay. So
like, why
from
even
what
have
I
that?
understand, they type that in after the fact. So it could have, because like whenever they print it out or whatever, if somebody wants to know, it'll be on there.
Yeah.
So he probably just had it on there from the last person that they did it for.
Ah.
And it just didn't change.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or it was a big fake out. They were
Or
trying
maybe
to mess with us.
he's like, I don't want to, you're like, I don't want to know the gender. And he's like, okay, well, they'll never guess in a 50-50 if I just put something in there.
Yeah. Well, so most babies are like 7 to 8 pounds. And anyways, I was in there holding the leg like during the whole, being the good husband. Right. And it's not like the movies at all.
No.
At all. No. Like if you're next to your wife, like you see everything, and it's crazy. But and mad respect for every woman that's birthed a baby.
Hey, I mean, I just say like one of the most painful things most people say is like passing a kidney stone, and that's infinitely smaller than a baby. So
yeah, the stuff that she went through, she's amazing. But yeah, so she popped out a 9.5 pound baby. This thing was massive.
Yikes!
Like I saw like the top of its head, and I thought that was like the whole head. Yeah. And then the whole like I have this image burned in my head where I'm like, I saw the baby. And then I saw her, and I was like, "It doesn't make sense. The baby's too big. It didn't. Right. It wasn't in there. Like it was like a magic trick.
That's a whole human right there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was crazy. So, anyways, but as of yesterday, we have a baby boy.
Nice.
His name is Ace Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Didn't go with Tesseract, I see.
No, it didn't go with the Tesseract.
All right.
I was going for Thomas Shelby Jung IV, but she wasn't having it, so no
Darn.
T-Quad.
Oh, well, there's worse things.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, we're happy. She's healthy, baby's healthy, so.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, things are good.
Great news.
Yeah.
In other interesting news, maybe not as great, there are 4 words in the English language that have the sequence of letters M-E-O-W in them. The first one being meow, second one being meows, the third one being meowing, and the fourth one being homeowner. And also, like that weird little fact, there's a bill that's on the table right now that may actually reduce costs for homeowners.
Okay. That's something everybody can get behind.
Right. Well, as long as you own a house.
Even if you don't.
Or if you rent a house, I guess.
Yeah, even if you don't, but you're thinking about buying one, you're in favor, right?
Good point. Good point.
Who wouldn't want that?
So Tarrant County specifically is working on a bill that was kind of pushed out because of a Texas bill that they've been working on for a while now. This one is specifically going to target homeowners and homestead exemptions. So this one, we already have like the 10% homestead cap to where they can't raise it per year. But there's also 2 exemptions that come along with homestead that they're working to bump up. The first one is going to be the county tax rate. They're looking to make that a 10% exemption, flat rate for anyone who has the homestead exemption on their property.
Okay.
And so as far as your county taxes go, it may get dropped down to 90% from whatever it is right now, which could save you a few $100 a year. And there's another one a little bit bigger that is going to apply to people who fall in the hospital district. This one's going to be a 20% addition to that 10%. So that's a total of 30% of your taxes taken off.
Of the county tax?
So 10% from the county and 20% from the hospital taxes.
Which the hospital taxes are pretty small to begin with.
They
right?
are,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So it's not like a total, it's not 30% off your total. It's 20% from this category, 10% from this. But it should add up to, for somebody who has like a $350,000 house, it should add up to about like an extra $500 savings per year on taxes.
That's good.
Yeah. And there was another little thing that they sprinkled in there where I think it ended up coming out to like an extra 16 cents a year. But, you know, right, where I'm sure it affects them at a government level quite a bit, but for us, it's kind of like, why even bother?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's something that they've got on the table right now, and this comes in the wake of the Texas House bill that passed on Tuesday to reduce school taxes, and this is the one where it was only like a 16-cent decrease, but this one was really big because I know education, it eats up a ton of money and it never has enough. But on top of that, Texas already has a $40,000 exemption for mandatory exemption for homeowners in school districts like that, with like I think an extra $10,000 for seniors if
I think that's
you're
correct.
over a certain age.
Yeah.
But it's something that may end up passing at the state level because Texas or Governor Abbott has been going back and forth with the lieutenant governor about taxes because right now
they're out of control.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Honestly, it's literally pushing people out of their houses in a lot of areas, and so it's gathering a lot of steam at the state level as well. And I feel like DFW just kind of kicked it off really quick. Tarrant County is what this is specifically for. So if you're in like Parker or Dallas County, I'm sorry guys, you're gonna have to wait. But
yeah. And so is this something that we would be voting on, or is this something that the city council members would make a thing?
So this, as far as I know, is going to be on the commissioners and council members. This isn't going to be something that the people, I believe the voting for the people is already passed at this point.
Gotcha.
It's just going to be up to them to put the bill together and like make the legislation actually happen.
Well, I feel like this is a great time to pass this kind of legislation because with the amount of increased homes have had and that the county is having and everybody else with, property values going up, there should be, they should be able to cut a break to people right now and still be in great shape. So, creating that win. But
yeah, I think this is a really smart move because a lot of people in the short term will probably see this as, oh no, that means we won't have funding for all these things because taxes are coming down. But with how much development we've had coming in and how many people we have moving to Texas, this is nothing but a lure for more people to pay taxes. So while each individual may be paying a reduced amount, overall it may end up being profitable for the state.
Dude, big time. Dude, it's being they're crushing right now. And the only downside or the one thing I don't like is that it is a on the school stuff, it's a set amount, right? 40,000. Well, 40,000, isn't going to be in 5 years. That could be the equivalent of 20, right? So
Right.
I would much rather see a percentage than a dollar put on that value. But
Yeah, I mean,
it's a step.
well, if you look at it for again, this was a band-aid solution for a long-term problem. This really helps the people with the lower price points with like lower income houses and stuff like that, and it's a very immediate and it's something that they can feel. So if you have like a $120,000 house, like that's great. That's like a third of my house's value. But whenever that house is worth like $300,000 in a few years, whenever costs go up and everything like that, and inflation makes 40,000, like you said, only worth 20.
Yeah,
they're gonna start feeling it again really hard.
Right.
So that is definitely something that they will have to address at some point.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm all in favor of property taxes over state income tax, but just some of the rules that they have are a little antiquated. So, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Step in the right direction. So, speaking of houses. Yeah, so there's been a lot of articles popping up lately about Home Depot selling houses.
Okay.
And so I looked into this, and it's not at all what the articles make it out to be. But I think it is probably a step in the direction that we're going to see here in the future, which is a lot more prefabricated houses. So there's a bunch of articles going around where you can buy a tiny home from Home Depot for under $50,000.
Is that legit?
No. So
okay.
kind of. So they're selling frames for houses. So you go on, and it looks like, and this is it's a little bit misleading, and it was kind of difficult to figure out, even reading through it, what actually comes with it. But it's just the frame, and it's a steel frame. So there's a company called Plus One Home Kits, which hats off to them for getting in with Home Depot. Like that is some just phenomenal marketing for them, because you can go to their website and they have so many more options than what you see on Home Depot. But also, if they get orders through Home Depot, that's just another win. But basically, this is a company that does the pre-manufactured homes, and they do steel frames, which is great because you don't have termites, you don't have to worry about moisture, wood rot, all that. But it's expensive.
Yes.
So they made it sound like so one of the products was $34,000 for 500 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1.5 bath. Which, if it's a complete house, I'm like, maybe.
Yeah. But
it's not. It's just the frame.
Yeah, it's just the walls.
So and just to give you an idea, if you're building this size of a house, your frame and labor is probably going to be around $8 to $10,000. So you're paying 3 times as much just for the material. But I thought it was interesting because I think this is a step in the direction that we're going to see a lot of builders go in the future, and it wouldn't surprise me in the future if you did go to Home Depot and order your house.
That'd be pretty cool. They already sell everything else you need for a house,
and they have the perfect name for it.
Yeah, it's the Home Depot. Go there, you buy your home.
But so we talked about this previously, but I was talking to Daryl Scoggins. He's the owner of Double Rock Homes down in Godley, and that's kind of what he was seeing in the future, and he's keeping an eye on it because, if you can have everything pre-built in a factory, and we talked about this. You're like, you're not really saving on labor and this and that, but you're a lot less scraps. You're having, you're probably more efficient at building.
Yeah.
And then I didn't think about it, but we had talked about this. The most beneficial thing is the efficiency. Whenever you're building a house, you're taking out typically a construction loan, or the builder's got a line of credit they're paying interest on while it's being built.
Right.
If everything shows up ready to go and you can put a whole house together in a month,
just boom, right there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're saving so much money there. So there's a manufacturer down in Austin that's doing this, but I think this is going to be the future for a lot of folks. I don't think it's ever going to be something that changes the custom home game, but for these big production builders, I think that's going to be a thing.
I think that's really interesting because a lot of the services and things that we pay for today are just convenience based. Like you have Uber Eats and all these other things where nothing's stopping you from going and doing half of the things that you pay for, other than just the fact that it eats up time out of your day. So
you gotta learn.
Yeah, so when it becomes more convenient to build your own house as opposed to go through the hassle of getting your credit and financing up to a point where you can afford to get a loan at some crazy interest rate depending on the market, it may be something that people just turn to, hey, let's just go to Home Depot, buy a couple of walls and a frame, and we can build out from there once we have a little more money.
Have everybody over one weekend, drink some beer, build a house,
Go
Amish. Real barn raising. So the other thing I was looking at is you know, if you're gonna do this, you have to pour your own slab. You got to put your own plumbing, your own electric in. Plus, you got to go through all the permits and everything else. And so I was like, man, this seems like
a nightmare.
Yeah, but apparently the company that sells the kits also sells different packages for them.
Smart.
Yeah, to help you get through the permitting process or whatever, you know. And so, yeah. At some point, maybe it's streamlined enough where it kind of makes sense for you to do it on your own. But yeah, right now, I mean.
Yeah, I wouldn't tackle it myself.
No.
Just the stuff we've been dealing with this past week for like, what, 2 things?
Yeah.
Awful.
But, you know, I could see this being I could see this really taking off in the commercial space.
Really?
Yeah, just because everything in commercial is so much more expensive. But if you could pre-manufacture it, like if you're just doing a regular style building.
Yeah,
you know
if you have like, you could have a semi-custom build out based on just like what sort of panels and things that you can get from the local Home Depot. Yeah. Instead of having contractors come in and stuff like that, you just bring in your frame, put it in there, block off your little section of whatever multi-unit thing you're working with. Yeah. That is smart.
But anyways, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on that.
Man. Well, so, I mean, while that may make development easier for, you know, commercial spaces and stuff like that, as far as like residential development goes, there's a bit of a headache going down here between here and Houston at Fairfield Lake. It's one of the largest, it's actually, I think it's the largest privately owned lake in America right now. It's owned by Vistra Corp, and they've been leasing it out to Texas Park and Wildlife since like 1971. So like over 50 years at this point. Like a lot of people don't even know it's privately owned. But their lease ends this month on June 5th or 13th, actually. Sorry. And so they've been in a bit of a scramble because as of a year ago, Todd Interests, a Dallas-based developer, has had it under contract and has been doing their whole due diligence period. And when the lease is up on the 13th, that's basically Texas Park and Wildlife's last opportunity to take this thing on. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot. I would say Texas did. I wouldn't say Parks and Wildlife. They've been working on it. But like Texas State has basically been offered this thing at a steal, and they turned it down. And so when Sean Todd, the owner of Todd Interest, came in about a year ago, he saw it asking price at 110 million. He snatched it up because what this guy wants to do, he wants to turn it into like a high-end gated community. And so it's like, I think the park itself is like 1,800 acres, and then there's like an extra 3+ acres. It comes out to just shy of 5,000 acres of land that he purchased around this huge body of water. And he's going to basically make a bunch of lakefront properties and communities in sort of like the Indian Harbor kind of thing, what they did over in Granbury. Yeah. And it's like $1 billion project or whatever. So he's got this all mapped out, ready to go, ready to pull the trigger. And Texas Park and Wildlife has been fighting him tooth and nail to make sure this doesn't happen because they feel like they already missed their opportunity when it was originally bid. So these guys, what they did was originally they took they wanted to do eminent domain and basically just knock the contract out from under him. And so they went through every legal loophole they could to try and find a way to like use state power to take it back. And that ended up falling through. I mean, a guy who's going to put $1 billion project together probably has good lawyers.
It's true. Yeah. Very true.
Their next effort was to offer $25 million just for him to back out of the contract. That's it. He doesn't need to do anything else. He basically gets a free $25 million and takes it somewhere else. And he turned it down again. Wow. So this guy sees some serious potential in this little area. Yeah. And so originally they had to shut down the park back in February so they could start decommissioning everything. And a lot of people got pissed off and were like, no, let's
You're destroying a park.
Yeah, it's like let us back into the park. And so basically they opened it up to the public for free just so people, like, as an attempt to get people to understand, like, hey, this place is great, come check it out, help us save it. But now they're kind of at their pumpkin hour, the drop dead date, and they had to close it back down so they could actually start decommissioning it because they have to be out of there and gone by the 13th. Dang. Yeah, so they're like, guys, if this is something that's important to y'all, like, this is it. This is the opportunity, because otherwise we're gonna have another home development over there. I mean, either way, I think it's a win-win, but I can understand like the plight. Like, I think one of the things, talking to all the people I know from other countries and stuff like that, everyone, honestly, a lot of other countries really don't like Americans, but they love America. And the number one thing they do say they like about America is the natural parks. They say America has unmatched natural beauty. So if that's something big to you guys, this is where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like Todd's probably going to keep the land.
I think it's going to end up going through.
Okay.
Which, like, good on him. The guy's been fighting a good fight. I just know that there's people that are like on both sides of the fence with this one.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a big one. Yeah, and it's probably not going to be a walkable neighborhood.
No, God no. 5,000 acres? That's way too far to walk.
Yeah, but in our next segment, we'll be talking about walkable neighborhoods in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, yeah, this is something that I don't feel like is very prevalent in our area. There's only a few neighborhoods in Dallas and Fort Worth that I'm aware of anyways. And, you know, that might be due to the extreme weather that we have. You know, who wants to walk to Target in 110 degrees? Probably not many people. But yeah, no, that's one of the things I love about being over in Europe is, you know, you can walk to everything and there's just, it seems like there's a better sense of community and that sort of thing as well. But anyways, walkable neighborhoods in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm going to start with a couple. And guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do comment if you live in one of these neighborhoods, what it's like, or if we miss one of the neighborhoods. Maybe you live there and you're like, hey, this place is awesome.
And if you're not listening to it on YouTube, go to YouTube and comment.
Yeah, that'd be great too. So Bishop Arts is one of those neighborhoods. It's on the southwest side of Dallas, or downtown. And it's gone through like it's right next to Kessler Park. It's like this old neighborhood. They're like 100-year-old homes, and there's like a shopping area that's real cute there. And it's kind of, I feel like that whole area has kind of been revitalized over the last 20 years. And so it's it's a cool spot. I don't really know what the vibe is. I haven't hung out down there.
It's kind of got like a soft hipster vibe. It's nice. I've gone down there a couple of times. So when I say hipster, maybe that's the wrong vernacular, but they have a lot of niche things over there, so it's really cool. So you have like more mainstream things as well, but they've also got like record shops and like cigar shops and more niche interest things there. Okay, I guess is a better way to put it.
Okay, and the one thing I didn't check on this area is if they have a grocery store you can walk to.
They have plenty of food shops. I don't know if I would say they have a grocery store you can walk to.
And see, that's usually like what is walkable, and in my mind, it's something where like you don't have to have a car.
That's fair. Yeah.
So that one may have an asterisk on it, but next one is Victory Park. This is I feel like this area is anchored by American Airlines, where the Mavs play, and the Stars. And there's a bunch of condos around there. There's a few townhomes as well. And then you've got a bunch of really cool like restaurants and other things. I think there's a Tom Thumb over there, which is the main grocery store. So that's going to be like a more downtown feel. Like you're not downtown proper. I feel like downtown proper is more businesses in Dallas than anything else.
Yeah.
And so you have that area, and then also Uptown. There's a couple different areas around Uptown. Uptown is kind of where all the bars are, I guess. Is that what you would say?
In what, Dallas?
In Dallas, yeah, where people go bar hopping. And
yeah, I guess so. Now that I think about it, every time I've gone to like the comedy shows or any of the clubs or anything up there, it is always in like northern Dallas.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of townhomes and condos right around that area. Yeah. My buddy lives in over by Staten Island, which is another term you'll hear that's just it's a cross section, Staten Island.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of condos and townhomes in there that are really cool. His is not a rooftop, but a lot of them have rooftops, you know, where people have a hot tub or just like a really cool view of downtown. It's a great area. I feel like there's a lot of like single folks or young families that live there, not so much, or retired folks as well. So it's not really, I would say it's probably not ideal for raising a family in that area.
I mean, you could probably pull it off, but there's a lot of stairs in those houses.
Yeah, exactly. And then Legacy West, which is, I know there's a mall over there. There's a lot of shopping. So depending on how close to everything you are, I think that's another neighborhood.
Where's this one located at?
This is like North Dallas, and I'm not super familiar with this neighborhood.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, this is one that I researched a little bit. It was on the list. If I'm wrong about this, let me know. And then the other one, Grapevine Main Street. that area, which again, this is like, yeah, you're gonna have to be kind of close to the Main Street area. Otherwise, if you're 20 blocks away, then bicycle time.
Yeah, it also depends on where you are, because like if you go far enough down that street, it takes you towards like where Old Town is and stuff like that. But if you go further up it, that's where like they've really started developing, and it has gotten really tight knit. And I've seen Flower Mound start doing it as well with like those the shops and boutiques with the apartments and stuff above them on the upper floors. They've started doing that by the Grapevine area as well, in that little shopping area.
That's like the new mall, right? Yeah, I think it's great. It's a great setup, right? So you kind of get to, if there's a coffee shop, maybe you get to see a lot of people. And I know for like my buddy Jason, he's met a lot of people just from being around the same shops and areas or whatever. He sees people and he gets to know them. So like that sense of community that I was talking about.
Because like if I have a coffee shop at the bottom floor of my apartment, of course I'm going to go there for coffee, and then I'm going to meet my neighbors. That's nice. That is smart. I didn't think about that.
That's the part that I think is really cool. But then so Grapevine is kind of center of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and then over here in Fort Worth we've got the Magnolia area, which the only thing I'm not sure about is the grocery store again. There's a ton of shopping around there. I know there's convenience stores. This is kind of next to the hospitals.
It's not an HEB, but there is something over there by the hospitals. And I can't remember.
I couldn't either. I didn't look it up. But Magnolia, it's a cool area. A lot of restaurants. There's some shopping there. And Fairmount is probably if you're going to be next to that, Fairmount's the neighborhood. And there's, obviously the further back into Fairmount you go, you're going to need a bicycle or scooter. But I would say walkable. Then Linwood is another one. This is the West 7th area. This is right next to Montgomery Plaza and everything else. I'm calling it Linwood. I think technically there's a couple different names right there, but that area in general is another good one. You've got what's the grocery store over there? Is that Tom Thumb as well?
Yeah, there's a Tom Thumb, and there's another one over there, but it's like a little shop.
Oh, there's a Target over there behind Montgomery Plaza.
That's right. Yeah, there's a Target too. Yeah.
That's really all you need. They're having some problems right now.
Target, really?
Yeah, the whole not to get political, but they went down the same path as Budweiser, and their stocks dropped. Elon Musk was commenting that they should.
What did they do?
Have a class action lawsuit. I think the big thing was was this past month Gay Pride Month or Pride Month?
I think that's this month.
I don't know.
June. Yeah, it's this month.
Okay, well, okay.
Oh, did they like sell like gay pride stuff or something?
Yeah, but I think it was like children's stuff. I think is where they messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people had issues with that.
Yeah, maybe leave politics out of the kids' stuff.
Yeah, and that was like, oh, there's the line. We figured out where it's at.
Yikes.
At least in the South, they had to like they removed it from a bunch. It was interesting. They removed it from a bunch of stores because they were concerned for the safety of their employees.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And,
good Lord, guys. What are y'all doing?
And so once they removed it, then the LGBTQ.
Yeah, the alphabet boys.
Yeah, got upset that they were removing it, right? So they really just pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
And so they're
can't win that argument.
Yeah, they've lost like $14 billion in revenue.
Oh my God, dang.
Yeah. So anyways, it's interesting. And then anyways, back to neighborhoods.
Walkable neighborhoods.
Yeah. Downtown Fort Worth would be the other one as well.
Yeah.
So there's condos and townhomes in downtown, and there's stuff to do, obviously. But yeah, those are the areas that came to mind for me. And
see, I would actually say this is going to be a weird take, but I would say, depending on your lifestyle, Northside could even be considered a walkable neighborhood because they have that mixed zoning. Since it's such an old neighborhood, just overall, there's a ton of like shops and stuff peppered into just straight up on residential neighborhoods.
Yeah. Like at the end of the street with the Airbnb, there's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is nice.
And they're just grandfathered in because the buildings are older than the regulations that are written about them. So
that's a good point.
It's very interesting. It's definitely a culturally flavored area. So depending on like what your tastes and stuff are, or like personal interests might sway you one way or the other. But yeah, I would definitely say that it's a good taste of what Fort Worth lifestyle used to be, though.
No, that's a good one. Yeah, and then I was thinking, I think we talked about this not too long ago, but like the new master plan communities, I feel like
like over in Walsh and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like there should be more of this, but and maybe there will be. Like I know in Walsh, they've got a bunch of commercial stuff planned, but until there's enough residents, they don't build that typically. And so,
so the upside is that those guys are like the trailblazers, because those types of things are going to cost an inordinate amount of money to put together compared to like your regular cookie cutter square neighborhoods just tucked away in the corner. And so until people start seeing the profitability behind stuff like this and it's more proven and they have systems in place, we probably won't see a lot of these, but that's where these guys come in. Okay. So hopefully they'll be able to pull it off and just kind of let everyone know, like, hey, this is doable and profitable.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's one more. I was reading this. The library in downtown Fort Worth got purchased. Did you see that?
So I know that they're trying to build a new tower or something over there.
Yeah. So basically, from what I read, I was like, okay, they were like, hey, this library is way too big, which I'm like, it's a library. Who goes to the library anymore? I
have a library in my pocket.
Yeah. And so anyways, they're like, we don't need all this space. And so they bid it out, and their whole thing was like, hey, somebody else can buy this, build whatever, but we want to make sure we still have a space for the library. And so somebody's coming in, and they've got really big plans for it to do like shopping and office space and living space, and obviously the library as well. So we'll see. It sounds like it's early, but it sounds like that might be a next cool spot in downtown.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, not everyone rushed to get there at once. You might cause a traffic clog, especially around the railroads, because Fort Worth has a lot of them, so much so that the Federal Railroad Administration has taken a keen eye to the Fort Worth area, specifically up by Saginaw, because they just awarded $17 million to Texas DOT to do something about it. Yeah, so all those train tracks they got running around up there by like Blue Mound Road, Hazlitt,
and they
Saginaw.
have the worst intersection there. That one.
Yeah, absolutely awful. The one over by 881 and 287 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got people lined up for like a mile back there. Don't worry, they know about it and they're doing something about it. So they just awarded $17 million to Texas DOT so they can fix this issue.
They just need to build a bridge or a tunnel.
So they're actually just gonna work on the crossing itself. Not a lot of details planned, but between a coordinated effort, it's going to be a coordinated effort between the city of Fort Worth, BNSF, and DOT to fix that traffic situation. Because right now it's just kind of like your regular traffic crossing for a railroad. I'm not sure if it's going to be a bridge or if they're going to like do a trestle or something. What the actual situation is going to be, but they are going to take some steps to mitigate the traffic in the area to include a sidewalk. So it's going to be like ADA compliant and everything. So they've got like a decent plan put together for whatever this is. And honestly, I think it's crazy because I did some digging into it, and apparently the Federal Railroad Administration reports over 2,000 collisions with vehicles a year with trains. Which, honestly, considering this last year, we had, 2 or 3 major derails that made the news because of, toxic chemicals and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, man, why is it happening so often? And then just to find out it's, quadruple digits every year. And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, that doesn't quite surprise me for all the people that are, weave around the arms.
Honestly, those people, they're just playing with evolution at that point.
Right?
That's natural selection in progress.
Yeah, that is a ton of wrecks for something that hey, the big flashing lights, this is coming.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, but because I think this is a bit of a personal issue for me because I have a house up in the North Side area, and so I usually take North Side Drive to get there because it saves me the extra 5 minutes of going up to 28th and going around. That being said, 28th has a bridge over the train tracks. North Side Drive just drives across it. Added to the fact that there is an inspection stop along the way, and depending on which direction that train's headed, it could stop on the tracks and block miles of traffic on North Side for a very annoyingly long period of time.
So is this effort just for Saginaw or these other areas around town?
I'm hoping that...
Because that's a lot of money.
$17 million is a lot, but construction costs a lot, especially when trains are involved.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, this is just for that one crossing up on the Bonds Ranch Road area.
It's a lot of money for one bridge.
Yeah, it is. And so I'm hoping that this is for other projects, and I'm fingers crossed that that's one of them.
Well, you know, like the same issue is that in Crescent.
Out there going to
off
on
377 trying to get to Granbury,
Mm-hmm.
and like their solution was like, hey, let's just build another highway that goes around this one intersection instead of a bridge or a tunnel. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't.
The train still has to cross that too. So
well, it goes over the train, but
it does.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's like they're building miles of road and another bridge, and I'm like, this seems like an excessive solution, but. I mean, I'm sure they've got their reasons. It just seems excessive.
Well, with that one, unfortunately, I think the whole town center is around that intersection. So if they built a bridge, it would just go around downtown Crescent, which I say downtown Crescent is like 6 buildings. But
there's like a gas station and a Sonic.
Yeah.
Two gas stations.
Was there a Sonic? Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's
a car shop, I think.
Yeah, I want to say there's like this thing where you can buy the stuff that goes into your yard, like the outside stuff.
Oh yeah, and there's that one dude that's always selling like all the crazy flags and whatnot.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, it's like yeah, 8
that's
places.
the town.
Yeah. But anyways. Well, I'm glad to hear that they're finally doing something about Saginaw. That's like, honestly, I've had clients not buy in Saginaw for that reason.
I was like, especially with Alliance expanding as much as it is, they're gonna have to do something.
Yeah. But cool. Well, I think that's all we got for you guys this week. As always, thanks for tuning in. Please rate us on whatever you're on. And yeah, as always, if you're looking to buy or sell, remember to keep calm. Call Tom.